welcome to another afternoon into the evening of the harness racing here at Mohegan Sun Pocono Downs, but today a very special afternoon. The 137th running of the Kentucky Derby will be coming up a little after 6 o'clock, but we're here live right in front of the winner's circle here at Mohegan Sun Pocono Downs. Myself, Kelly Connors, and we have a special guest.
That we do. We didn't think we were going to be able to be out here today with that crazy storm that moved through, but it's starting to clear, so we're very happy about that outside the winner's circle. And as Randy had mentioned, with a special guest, we have George Anthony with us. You're a trainer. But you also have some experience with thoroughbreds as well, correct?
Well, I hope to have some if I continue my career and possibly go to Belmont in the fall. My good friend Mike Maselli, who's one of the top New Jersey jockeys for many, many years, is going to take me by the hand a little bit and show me the ropes. And the possibility of me switching over is very prominent.
My goodness, so 19 horses in the running of the Derby today. Talk to us about this field. Help us kind of dissect it all.
I think before the field, there's a lot of great stories that involve the Kentucky Derby today. You know, you have, it might be Ladies' Day in Kentucky today, you know, the heartwarming story of Kathy Ridfo. You know, 3 years ago, here she's watching the Kentucky Derby waiting for a heart transplant, and here she is today with a horse that has a decent shot in Macho Mucho Man. And of course, you have Rosie Napravnik, the other female jockey looking to become the first female rider to win the Kentucky Derby. And the last person to do that was in 2003 with, I'm trying to remember, Rosemary Homeister, I believe, was the last lady jockey to try to win the Derby. But you know, there's a bunch of other stories like John Court. Here's a 50-year-old jockey getting a great shot. It's amazing. Here's a guy that's won 3,500 races, and he's got his very first Derby mount for his wife and his father-in-law, who's the trainer. He's 70 years old, and that's Jinx Fires, who comes from a long list of horsemen. Early Fires, of course, the Hall of Fame jockey. So John Court gets a shot to make history for himself. I think he'd like to go out on top today as well.
You know, it's going to be a pretty interesting, it is an interesting field here, and I think it's a pretty open race, although George and I were talking earlier, Kelly, so we kind of left you out of the loop on this one, but we did have an opportunity to talk. I really like the 19. I like Nero in here, and I think Corey, who's piloting this one today, he spoke earlier on NBC, had a lot of good things to say about the horse, had a lot of good things to actually say about the people involved with this horse. Yeah. And both times he drove this horse, he was in a little bit of trouble. If he can stay trouble-free, I think he can win this one. That's my opinion. You
know, he's got the good post to do stay out of trouble, and he is my pick. I agree with you, Randy, with the Nero horse. This one seems to be peaking at the right time for Corey Nakatani. After 2 maiden special weight performances, he's been right there with a win and 2 second-place finishes. He was flying late in both the L.A., Louisiana, and Arkansas derbies. He was really flying and almost got there. Today, of course, he gets the added furlong, which is going to be in his favor. The added distance, I think, isn't going to be a problem for this one. I would have picked Arch, but the rail position, as you know, could make this horse get stuck pretty bad along the inside. And I think John Court's main mission today is to come out of the gate, stay out of trouble, and to get this horse free somewhere in the middle of the pack and then make his run as well. He's a very formidable foe in here. And then I was looking at another horse called Soldat. And Soldat was a beaten favorite in the Florida Derby. I'm going to give him an excuse in that race. I think he's got a license in this race. Last year, as a 2-year-old, he was second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Race, and he was also second in the Pilgrim Stakes, where he had a very, very bad start. Here's a horse that's been favorite many times. Let's give him another shot. I think he deserves it in here, and you might see him flying at the end. There's a lot of speed in this race. I think it sets up for the closers in here, and I think you're going to see a lot of front-end action. And, of course, we're waiting to see how the track conditions remain. There is a possibility of rain, and that might tell a whole different tale. Things can change in this business like it does in ours very fast.
George, if you have to give the betting public out there a 3-horse box in the Derby, because I'm going to give one, who do you like besides the 19?
Well, Nero is my top pick with Arch, and Soldat. That's my 3-box pick in here. I think the closers are going to reign today in the Kentucky Derby, and I think it's going to be an exciting run for the Roses with $2 million at stake.
All right, Capper, you got your 3 picks here?
I like the 19 as well. Okay. I really like Nero in here. I think he's going to be very, very tough. You had mentioned early speed. I think there's enough of it in here where the closers are going to come late. depending on the road trouble. And, with this many horses in a field, things can happen. It
A
happens
lot
all
of
the time.
horses can always make a lot of traffic. I mean, even in here in the harness business, you have to have racing luck. And racing luck, of course, can get you beat. And you do need the luck of the gods to be with you. Sometimes the best horse doesn't win, and that's in this game as well. You do need the racing luck no matter what. And when you got a field of 19, you have to have clearance, of course, to get to the winner's circle. There's an old saying. It says, you can only win a race one way, and you could probably lose at 100.
I have to agree. The other horse I really, really like in here is Dialed In. He's going to be very, very tough. He won that Florida race last start. Won by a head, but still won, came off the pace. So I kind of like this one as well. If I had a box 3, it would be the 19, the 13 Macho Horse, and then Dialed In with the 8.
Looking at Dialed In, he's only had 4 races, and I know 3 of them have been wins. But what upset me a little bit about Dialed In was 2 races back when he was not 1 to 5 shot. He was 20 cents on a dollar in a very easier field than the Kentucky Derby is, and he got beat. And I was kind of looking at that and wondering, well, I'm not going to make him my choice today. But of course, you got Nick Zito, the trainer. Zito has won 2 Kentucky Derbies. His last one was about 20 years ago with Strike to Gold. And Nick's a great old-time trainer. He's a tough bird, and he's very well liked in New York.
And he was a favorite going into the race, Dialed In. You think he's still on top there?
I'm not sure what he is right now to date, but I'm sure he's going to be up close.
Right.
He'll be up close, one of the favorites.
You can never count out a guy like Nick Zito. He's a champion trainer, just like Todd Pletcher. And, Todd had a very rough day today with Uncle Mo. And as a trainer, I was discussing that condition a couple of days ago with my veterinarian at the Meadowlands. And we were discussing that, when these young horses have these gastrointestinal type of problems and they're treated with antibiotics, I don't think Uncle Mo was going to give his best today. And it's no shame to the horse. There'll be another day for him. He is a great horse, and he's shown some superior races. And I think in the horse's best interest, Todd Pletcher made the right choice.
I have to agree. Being horseman, I would have to agree with that. What about Rosie? Is there a possibility she can get there?
Well, the ladies are rooting for all the ladies today. They got the training ladies and they got the riding ladies. And, that's what makes the Kentucky Derby very interesting. And it has some very interesting points today where a lot of people can root for a lot of their different favorite horses. So the ladies will be rooting for the ladies, and everybody else will have some of their picks as well.
All right, George, thank you so much for taking the time out and sharing some of your knowledge with us today. We'll see how your picks do. We'll see how Randy's picks do.
Maybe we'll see George in the Derby one day.
I don't know. I would like that, wouldn't it? I mean, there's no pressure there, but we enjoy the sport. The racing business is such great. It's been wonderful for me for all these years. But, when you race harness horses or thoroughbred horses, every race, I don't care if it's a claiming race, that's our Kentucky Derby all the time.
I agree.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for being here with us.